Alright, so I'm going to be showing you how to propagate a coleus plant. And propagating just means that you're taking a mother plant, a well-established plant. You're taking one of the stems and you're repotting it to create a new mother plant. And the first thing you're going to want to do is find a proper stem. So this, for example, would be a good stem. And then in between where you see that you have some leaves sprouting, so here's one, here's another. This in between is called a node. So you want to go ahead and trim. You never want to trim all the way back here. You could, but you wouldn't want to when you're just propagating. So you'd want to get somewhere in between these two. So right about above here, you just go ahead and snip. All right, the tools you're going to need are a pair of scissors, and then about a 4-inch container. It could be anything you'd like. These will even grow in just a mason jar with some water. And of course, your stem. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just trim off the excess leaves. Because this has no roots, it's going to waste a lot of energy if it's trying to get water and nutrients up to these leaves. So you want the plant to be working the least amount as possible, just focusing on those roots. So you're just going to want to trim off the excess. All right, and these spots right here, what you're trimming off, that's what's going to sprout off into being the roots. So, right, you just trim. And I actually cut off a pretty big piece. You could even, if you cut a piece this big, you can even cut again in between the two nodes. So 1 and then 2. You can cut about here, and then you can get 2 for the price of 1. All right, so I'm gonna trim some of this off. All right, so you have it like that. This is dry, I haven't added any water. You just wanna go ahead and just moisten it a little bit. Just add a little bit of water, not too much because you don't wanna drown it. And just go ahead and stick it in. That's pretty much it. You just wanna make sure that those pieces that I showed you, this, you can even trim that down a bit. You want these pieces to be well underneath the soil, and you don't want to pack it in too tightly because then you won't give the plant enough room to breathe to create its roots. But just about there would be fine, and this amount of leaves would be fine. You don't want to leave the leaves you don't want to leave too many on, especially the big ones. This is an example of one that we did a couple days ago, and we left the big leaves on, and you could just see that it's all wilted. The plant is just wasting so much energy on trying to bring up the nutrients to the bigger leaves, and it's not going to root as fast, and it might even rot your stem, so you won't get you won't propagate the coleus properly. Pretty much. Again, how to trim. So if you have a piece like this is nice and small, you just want to go ahead, just trim off over here, because again, these are going to be the roots. Then trim, and then just plop it back in. So same, just to show you one more time. It's not incredibly hard. It's not hard at all, I think. You just want to make sure. That might have even been too much, but because I believe that this was a longer piece that they just trimmed off, you could see that it's, focus. You could see that it's frayed right there, just like burnt. That's new, but that's just been exposed and just created a sort of callus. All right, great. So, I mean, ideally you'd want to leave some leaves on the coleus to properly get it going. This would be a perfect example. This would be, it's still gonna grow, but you'd rather your coleus stem look like this.